Welcome back, guys. We're back on the motor today. So in the last episode, I got the rockers done, the training upgrades with our comp cams. So today, I'm going to drop the pan. I got to pull the front cover off. I don't know if I'm going to get to the rear cover or not on this episode, just because I got to take it off the stand and pull the flywheel off the back. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this pan dropped and see what hidden gems are in it. I'm not suspecting very much. Motor is showing what looks to be a little higher mileage, but everything's in pretty decent order, except for the plugs. I pulled the plugs out. Let me switch over here. They're pretty shot. So if this thing was running rough, I wouldn't be too concerned with it. Everything else is checking out good. So the plugs were just, they're junk. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and drop the pan. I'll probably do that off camera just because it's a mess and it's a pain in the butt to do by yourself already. So I'll drop the pan. The reason I'm dropping it downwards and I'm not flipping the motor over is just in case there's something in the pan, it doesn't go back up into the motor. So I'm gonna drop the pan, let that drip, and go ahead and take my front cover off. I've already pulled my harmonic balancer off. We're gonna clean that up and paint it and reuse that. But we're gonna get into the front cover, do our we're gonna get in the front cover, do our seal up front, do our oil pump, do our timing chain and all that, and freshen it up a little bit. So get in here and knock this out. So we went ahead and got the oil pan off here, just like I expected. A little bit of sludge. I got concerned when I dropped it that this was metal sitting on the bottom here. Looks like it's just from the casting, it's stuck in the pan itself. So the rest, down there you see the sludge from not cleaning, proper oil changes every once in a while. So good thing was we're not using this pan. This is the deep truck pan, so we got a new pan for it. So like I said, we're gonna go ahead and yank this front cover off here and get everything opened up to do our oil pump and our timing chain, and I got some ARP fasteners for the cam sprocket, so we'll go ahead and put ARP in there. Like I said, we're not doing a cam swap right now, just getting the motor in the car, getting it running, getting all the necessities done right now. So next year we'll pull the motor and build it. So I'm gonna go ahead and yank these off and get this open. Just a little sludge. We'll get that all cleaned up. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and remove our oil pump. Just these 410 millimeters. These are torqued to spec, so when you do go ahead and put a new oil pump on this motor, you're going to have to get new oil pump bolts. So, slide our oil pump off there. Now, reinstall this bolt so I can turn the motor over. And get there's a dot right here on the bottom, and then there's a mark up here on the top. That'll get you to top dead center. There we go. Now she's set to top dead center, TDC. So, looking at this further, I think I'm going to save myself a little bit of grief, and I'm not going to take this oil pump drive off. The teeth look fine on it. I am going to take the cam gear off and replace that, and the chain, and then this kit comes with the damper to put in between. So I think I'm going to save myself a little bit of trouble. Okay, now that I got that taken care of, try not to move your cam, because that's timing set on that. So we're going to go ahead and take our thrust plate off here and go ahead and install a new one. As you can see, it's this rubber piece in here that's usually the culprit of it leaking. I don't know, I'm bringing here. You can see this hole, there's another hole on this side, and that just keeps the oil to go from passage to passage. Well, it crosses in between here. So what that does, this just seals it up. So it externally won't be leaking, but it internally will be leaking. And then if you look down these holes, that's where your lifters are. So you want to make sure left to right that it's able to keep getting oil from left to right, and it's not leaking it down and back into the pump and bypassing some stuff. So this is kind of good insurance to go ahead and change. So I'm going to get this all cleaned up. Be careful not to move the cam and get this thing out of time, and then we'll go ahead and reinstall the new one. Okay, now we got that installed. What I did was I ran them down with a little electric impact. I did not tighten them. These have torque specs, so I'm just going to go across that way. There's 3 different types. What I've looked up, there's 3 different types. There's the old style. These are GM hex, and those are torqued down to 18. ARPs torqued down to like, I think it's 25 foot-pounds. And these are the new style GM. These get torqued down to 11. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cross them and torque them down. Now, when I do this, I'll go over it a couple times just to make sure, because these are countersunk, and just make sure that we got them where they need to be. Never hurts to double check where you're at. Okay, now that that's done, we'll go ahead and we'll take our new sprocket and new chain and our ARP camshaft bolts and get that in. First we'll go ahead and just get everything lined up and I'll loosely tighten in our ARP bolts so we don't lose our timing, and then we'll go ahead and get those torqued down. Like I said, we're gonna install our timing chain and new top gear. These do have an alignment pin on them, which is rather nice. There's your 3 mounting holes and then your alignment pin hole. So I'm just gonna go ahead and slip my chain over that. There's also a nice little dip here. That's where you line up the hole on the bottom guide. So slip that timing chain on there. Slip it in place. So my point here is lined up to this point. It's all engaged. I'm going to already put Loctite or ARP's lubricant on there. So hand thread these in, being careful not to turn the camshaft. Get myself out of time here. And these, according to ARP, I'll send you this nice little thing. These get torqued down to 25 foot-pounds. And if you guys are looking for the part number, you can see it right there. So I'm going to go ahead. These are 10 mil. And I'm just going to tap them with my impact real quick so they don't move. And come back, a torque wrench, turn it up to 25 foot-pounds and torque those. And that's that. It's a lot better. Now we're gonna install our little our guide here. This motor originally didn't have it on there, so we go ahead and get our bolts ready and get this in place. Okay, we got that installed. I got a little bit of 600 grit here. I'm just gonna go around before I put the new oil pump on and clean off my gasket surface. This isn't removing any material, it's just cleaning the crap off of it. So that when I do go to put my front cover back on, it's all cleaned up and ready to seal everything up. Okay, got that all cleaned up now, and time to put our oil pump on. So, previous episode we got our Melling Performance oil pump. Didn't need to go to this, but I wanted to go to this. So this is a standard volume, high pressure oil pump. Should help out with any lift or knock or anything we got. Pretty nice looking unit. So we're actually gonna take this front plate off, pull our impellers out, and get this thing put in there. Like I said, I'm gonna pull this outer cover off the pump. Can take our inner billet gear set out. That, and this is all we're gonna go ahead and use right now. So get this loosely bolted in place, very loosely, don't tighten it down. Wipe it off just a little bit. Get this set right there. We got new hardware for that. That we will go ahead and install. Like I said, loosely, don't tighten it down completely. Gently, I'm not even gonna put anything on them, just drawing them in. So you can still move it around, because we're going to have to actually shim this pump with some feeler gauges. So nice and loose. We'll get these gears in there and go through shimming it. Okay, now we're going to install our gears here. Use just a little bit of assembly lube on them, just to make sure they're lubricated when we go ahead and fire this motor up. It's not going to run dry right off the bat and put some nasty Mars, and we don't need to be hurting a brand new pump. So go ahead, lift this thing up a little bit, and we're going to slip it in here, lining it up with our and then, like I said, we kept our pump loose in there. So in order to make sure that that pump is properly spaced around, we got our, let's see if you can read that, 2 thou feeler gauges. And lots of people just go around and stick a whole bunch of feeler gauges in, but we're gonna actually slide this feeler gauge in long ways on this, so it goes more than halfway around, and then do the same on the bottom. Get this slid in there. Go from the bottom first. Easier. So got that set in there. Top. And that's that. So it's nice and centered it up, and it's centered the pump up, and you know, the pump barely moves on there. So we're going to go through, take our 10 mil on our torque wrench again, and we're going to tighten that down to 18 foot-pounds. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead, grab us some pliers over here, and snag our feeler gauges out of there. And that's that. So now it's shimmed all the way around. Should have proper lubrication all the way around. Throw a little bit more assembly lube on this. So there's a little bit in these holes. We're going to go ahead and, once we get this on there, we'll turn the motor over and it'll lubricate everything, but just want to make sure that it's not going to be dry. Don't like dry, like it lubed. So now we're going to go ahead and put our cover back on. Put our bolts back in. And they want me to torque it down 106 inch-pounds. As you can see my little inch-pound torque wrench here. Not foot-pounds, inch-pounds. Like I said, this is my first time doing it, so I'm kind of following everything directions-wise. 106. There's 106. So go ahead and tighten these down again, making sure we're crossing. Okay, now they're all torqued down. Now we're going to go and get our new outer cover gasket, and I'm going to go ahead. I ordered a alignment tool that bolts to the bottom here, and then it's got a alignment. I don't know what you call it, for your front cover, so that you can get it nice and straight, because there's a lot of slop in these holes, so you need to make sure it's straight, so your actual seal, front seal on your cover, we're going to go ahead and replace that front seal also. So we'll go ahead and I'm going to get this front seal cleaned up, get the old seal out. We'll get our alignment tools in there. Okay, so we got our cover all cleaned up inside and out best as possible. I went ahead and went on Amazon and ordered a front cover alignment tool. Comes with this plate down here that bolts up where the oil pan is, and comes with this nice machined piece for the snout of it. So we'll go ahead and these Felpro gaskets, no RTV needed. So go ahead and set this up there. And so that aligns the bottom, that plate aligns the bottom. And this slides in and it fits really tight, nice tight in there. So get our gasket lined up. start our bolts. Okay, got them all run in. I'm going to torque them now to 18 foot-pounds. Okay, now we're putting on our front seal. You'll see on there's a concave side and then an outside. This is your top. This goes inside. There she is. So after that, you take your crank pulley and put your crank pulley on, but we're not gonna do that right now. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to go ahead and cut you guys off here, and I think I got enough video for today. So I cut you guys off here, and we'll go ahead and catch you guys next time when we'll get the knock sensors and valley cover redone, new gaskets and that, and go to the back of the motor. I'll have to lift the back of the motor up and do our rear seal, rear main seal, and our barbell. Like I said, if you guys haven't seen the previous episode where I went over all the parts that we're doing to this motor, go back. It's in the in our rocker video. So with that, I'll leave you guys off here. Like, subscribe, come back to see me tackle my first mods on my motor that I've never done before, but luckily there's a lot more smarter people on here than me, and I've gone off of some of the stuff that they've done. So like what you see, come back. We will move on this motor and get it ready for paint. So yeah, come on back.